Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to be working through some factorising questions. These are the kind of questions you can expect to see in a grade 10 exam. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments and I hope this helps. So first of all we're going to look at this 1.1.1. So we need to factorise this 4x minus x cubed. Okay, with factorising I always try check. So do we have a common factor? Do we have dots? So the difference of two squares? Do we have something that we can maybe group together? And is it a trinomial? So those are your things you need to be looking at every time they ask you to factorize, because they don't really tell you which method to use. So in this one, we can actually see we have a common factor. So we have x in both of these terms. So I'm going to take out x as a common factor. So just somewhere I'm going to write common factor is x. So if that is my common factor, what we do is we take out the common factor. So we put that on the outside. And then in brackets, we put what's left over. So you can imagine I did this term divided by x. Okay, so that would cancel those. I'm left with just 4. That's my leftover there. And in this term, I would go that divided by x. So all I'm going to be left with is x squared. Okay, so this is factorized, but it's not fully factorized. So then I've got to check, do I have any common factors in the brackets? No, I don't. Do I have the difference of two squares? I do. So difference of two squares means I've got a square number. Okay, so let's just circle or underline this. I've got a square number and a square number, and I'm doing a subtraction, the difference between them. We have a standard form, so if I'm doing the difference of two squares, it always ends up looking like this. So I'm going to have, sorry, let me just change. I still have that bracket x, but then what happens is difference of two squares means I get two brackets. I get a plus in the one, a minus in the other, doesn't matter which order. And then what I do is I take the square root of the first term, so the square root of 4, okay, which is just 2, and I put that at the start of both brackets. And then I take the square root of the second term, so the square root of x squared is just x, and I put that in the back of both of the brackets. And then that is our fully factorized answer, so I can't do anything else there. I can't group them, I don't have a trinomial, so that is as far as I can go with that one. Okay, 1.1.2, let's have a look at that. So 1.1.2 looks like I have a trinomial. How I know that is I've got three terms, and I know it is a quadratic when I have an x squared, then I have just an x term, and then I have just a number term. Okay, so I would go through and check, but I don't have any common factors, don't have any dots, so my next thing, can't group it, probably is going to be a quadratic. So with quadratics, we always, again, have the same two brackets. The signs are a little bit, we've got to figure them out. And how we do quadratics is we always have to read them backwards. So we're going to say the factors of 54 that have a difference of 15. Okay, so let's write that somewhere just so we have it in the back of our head. So factors, so numbers that go into 54 that have a difference of 15. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to list some factors of 54. Okay, so we could go 1 times 54. Then let's see, 2 times what would give me 54? Let's check that one quick. 2 times 27. Let's see if 3 goes in there. 3 times 18. So if you have a calculator, you can just go 54 divided by 3, divided by 2, check all of these. Let's just check one more. So divided by 4, doesn't work. 54 divided by 6. So that's 6 times 9. Now I'm going to check each of these factors, and I'm going to check which of them, if I subtract them, which of them gives me an answer of 15. Okay, so 54, if I do this one, 54 take away 1 is going to give me 53, so it can't be that one. 27 take away 2 is going to give me 25, again, can't be that one. 18 take away 3, that would give me 15, so that is my answer there. Okay, so what we always do is you put, in the start of the bracket, we always just put just x or just y or whatever the variable is. At the back of the bracket, we put these factors, so I'm going to put 3 and 18. And then all you need to check is what signs we need. So usually if it's like this, it's a plus and a minus, it means we're going to have a plus and a minus. We just need to check if that's the right order. So how we check a quadratic is we might have to multiply it out. Okay, so let's move down a little bit. So we've got x plus 3, x minus 18. We're going to expand it out and see if we get that original quadratic. Okay, so let's go. How we do this is we always go first term times the first term. So x times x is x squared. First term times the last term. X times 18 is negative 18x. 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times negative 18 is going to be negative 54. Let's just simplify this. So it's going to be x squared. That's going to be minus 18x plus 3x is going to be minus 15x minus 54. Okay, it does give us the right answer there for the last part, but it's this first part that's worrying me. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is, because we didn't get this positive 15, that's what we needed. We needed positive 15. We're going to have to swap these around. Okay, so all that means is you do this check, and then you can see, oh, actually, my signs are in the wrong order. So this is going to be a minus, and this is going to be a plus instead. Okay, and that is our fully factorized form there. Okay, and then question 1.1.3, let's have a look at that. So in this question, we have got y minus xy plus x minus 1. We need to factorize this, so our checks are always, can we take a common factor out of every single term? We can't. There's no common factor that's in every term here. Can we do the difference of two squares? So there aren't really many square numbers in there, so let's leave that one for now. It's not a trinomial or a quadratic because it doesn't have 3 terms. So it has to be a grouping question. So we have to maybe sort these into groups. So I would usually just group them as they stand, see how it works with that. So let's group them like that and see now if we can take a common factor out. Okay, so we've grouped it. Now I'm going to take a common factor out of each bracket. So in the first bracket there, I'm going to take out y as a common factor. Okay, which means we put the y in the front. We have to do the leftovers. So that's going to cancel. We're just going to be left with 1. And that's going to cancel. So we're just going to be left with x. And then in the second bracket, we can't take anything out. So we've just got like this, x minus 1. Okay, so we can see these brackets are pretty similar. They're really close to being the same. We've got 1 minus x and x minus 1. So these brackets are really similar. Sorry, I have committed to coloring it in now, apparently. Okay, so these brackets are really similar. There is a trick that we can use for this. So if you have brackets like this where they're really close to being the same, so 1 minus x, x minus 1, what you can do is you can flip them around and change the sign. So I'm going to show you now what that means. So we keep the y in the front, we keep the first bracket the same. The second bracket then, like I said, we can change the sign in front. So instead of a plus, we make it a minus, and then we can flip the inside. So instead of x minus 1, we can say 1 minus x. Okay, so that is a trick that we can always use. It's a really useful one to remember because it comes up a lot in these questions. What we can then see is now we have another common factor. So this bracket is exactly the same as this bracket. So we could take that out as a common factor. Okay, so if we take that out as a common factor, let's see what we are left with. So we're going to have in the front 1 minus x. And then let's see what we were left with. So it's going to cancel here. All we're going to be left with is y. And then the second term is going to cancel, so all we're going to left with is 1. And that is as far as we can go with this factorization. So that is our final answer. I really hope this video helped. I'm going to be working through some of the other questions in another video, but let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And